Konbanwa minasan. Kyo desu. So, interesting topic to talk about, immigrants. I've talked about immigration in general, about Japan and in America as well. And I think there's a bigger problem with immigration I'm finding out in Japan currently happening. I'm going to list a lot of points of what's actually happening to Japan, and of course, I will give all my sources to my information in the description below. So let's get to it. There's an influx of Vietnamese foreigners coming to Japan, and because of the shortage of Japanese workers, a lot of Japanese farmers tend to hire Vietnamese foreigners to work for them, oftentimes for very, very low pay. So low that it's actually illegal. Many of these Vietnamese immigrants are shoplifting and stealing food, oftentimes livestock, oftentimes stealing a pig and grilling it in a bathtub. In another incident of stealing 30 chickens and being pretty much keeping them in the freezer, and this was also investigated by the Japanese police. Vietnamese are 14% of foreigners in Japan, and they commit 35% of the crimes in Japan. And I'm pretty sure because of this stat, it was going to make the Vietnamese immigrants look very, very bad. And oftentimes these Vietnamese are students or trainees whose visas has expired, so technically they are illegal immigrants. Recently, the voting rights for foreigners have been denied. However, how I see it, if this problem continues with the shortage of Japanese workers, eventually Japan is going to have to outsource these foreigners, and having massive forms of immigration is going to change the landscape of Japan. And in Vietnam, it's very easy to get a fake certificate, in which I don't believe maybe the Japanese government knows about. So it's very easy for these fake certified foreigners to come to Japan and pretty much take jobs because Japan needs the manpower. And with this, there's a lot of crimes being committed by the Vietnamese. And after 210,000 trainees that were Vietnamese, over 80K of them decided to stay in Japan. And there's a video of a Vietnamese YouTuber who is illegally stealing and hunting animals, also stealing vegetables. So with all that being said, what is my thoughts on the situation? I've talked about this before, but I think this recalls back to Japan's decreasing birth rate. I believe when you do not have kids to replace the current workers in the workforce, seeing as Japan has a very much an older population and there's more older folk than actual young people, you're gonna find there's gonna be economic problems because the economy is based off the decisions that people make. Seeing that marriage and children helps to build countries, societies, the very foundation of your country is being destroyed. With that being said, I believe Japan is in a very, very vulnerable state where countries like Vietnam or China can send massive immigration to Japan and actually change the landscape of Japan. Because what's happening is that these foreigners are taking work for a lot cheaper than a Japanese person would. I mean, it's basically illegal, the wages they're paying these people. But not only that, they're probably going to invite more of their family, friends, and colleagues to come to Japan. And the more of them are surfacing in Japan, they're probably more than likely are going to try to put in laws that favor them immigration, and probably even becoming a citizen a lot faster. Maybe even voting, even if you're not a citizen. And luckily this time Japan got away with denying the voting rights. However, I believe if this is a problem that the Japanese really have to fix themselves. I believe the Japanese need to cultivate a culture that allows for marriage, that allows for women to take care of kids, for men to get good jobs, just cultivate a culture of community. And I believe that Japan is lacking a strong sense of community and purpose, in my personal opinion. And if you don't have kids to replace the current workers, or for kids to innovate and come up with new inventions and new businesses, you're gonna have foreigners come over here and do that themselves. And the more foreigners you have, the more they're going to demand from Japan. And I'm not going to be surprised if 10, 15, 20 years from now, Japan will be a completely different country. And really, if the Japanese do not understand that this is a huge problem that can affect their lives and the lives of their children, you're probably going to see very bad results happening. I think it's up to the Japanese people to really understand this is a problem and really do what's best to try to solve it. Because in my personal opinion, and I think this goes for any society nowadays, but if we're talking specifically about Japan, I tend to get a sense that Japan doesn't really encourage people to step out the box and do things that are different. You're often kind of molded to kind of stay in your lane and don't do anything that makes you stand out or to stand up for something or to initiate change. I personally think that society has really dumbed down the men because really the men need to rise up to fix this problem because it's affecting the women and the children and the whole economy, to be honest. But I think a lot of our society today teaches us to be timid, not to question anything, and whatever happens, happens. But unless the Japanese stand up and actually do something to fix this problem, I fear for Japan's future. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below because I'm always interested to know what you guys think. So if you guys like the video, please smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Also hit that bell as well to get notified whenever we post a video. Also, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it is at BrooklynTokyo. So feel free to send me a DM because I do reply back. So thank you guys for that. Arigatou gozaimasu. Minna, kiyotsukete. じゃあね。
アイスクリーム溶けるほど眩しい太陽の恵み